Alright, back with chapter 6. Talks about the king honors Mordecai. That night the king could not sleep, and he gave orders to bring the book of memorable deeds, the chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written how Mordecai had told about Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs, who guarded the threshold and who had sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. And the king said, "What honor or distinction has been bestowed on Mordecai for this?" The king's young men who attended him said, "Nothing has been done for him." And the king said, "Who's in the court?" Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the king's palace to speak to the king about having Mordecai hanged on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's young men told him, "Haman is there, standing in the court." And the king said, "Let him come in." So Haman came in, and the king said to him, "What shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor?" And Haman said to himself, "Whom would the king delight to honor more than me?" And Haman said to the king, "For the man whom the king delights to honor, let royal robes be brought which the king has worn, and the horse that the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal crown is set. And let the robes and the horse be handed over to one of the king's most noble officials. Let them dress the man whom the king delights to honor, and let them lead him on the horse through the squares of the city, proclaiming before him, 'Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor.'" Then the king said to Haman, "Hurry, take the robes and the horse as you have said, and do so to Mordecai, the Jew who sits at the king's gate. Leave out nothing that ye have mentioned." So Haman took the robes and the horse, and he dressed Mordecai, and led him through the square of the city, proclaiming before him, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." Then Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his house mourning and with his head covered. And Haman told his wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had happened to him. Then his wise men and his wife Zeresh said to him, "If Mordecai before whom you have begun to fall is of the Jewish people, you will not overcome him, but will surely fall before him." And he does. Says Esther reveals Haman's plot. While they were yet talking with him, the king's eunuchs arrived and hurried to bring Haman to the feast that Esther had prepared. So 6 is about the king honors Mordecai. So basically, the king's sitting there, just chilling, I guess you could say, and he sees Haman, or no, actually, the king's sitting there and he can't sleep, and he tells his servants to basically just read him some things that's been happening in his empire, in his province or empire, whatever you want to say. That's what it's called, man. I forgot. Anyway, so they, of course, these servants, read the book to the king, and the king finds out about the two plotters. Of course, he had them killed. That were planning on killing him. He hung them, but then he didn't know that it was Mordecai who revealed to Esther what was going to happen. So then the king, of course, or actually before that, Haman comes in and tells the king, what he wants. But then Haman thinks that he's going to get this from the king, but actually the king's like, "You know what? Let's do this to Mordecai," and it ticks off Haman even more because Haman wanted this. He didn't want Mordecai to have it, but the king gave it to Mordecai. And praise be to God for that. And so instead of Haman being on the horse, being praised, it's Mordecai. So this ticks off Haman. He runs back like a baby to his house, crying and like a little wuss, and tells his wife and his friends what's been happening. And his wife warns him, if you don't get rid of him, soon, then you may die before him, and he actually does. So that's chapter 6 about the king honors Mordecai, and of course Esther reveals Haman's plot, which goes on to chapter 7 also. So that's 6, and we'll get with 7 here shortly.